Hi, it's Carly McAvoy. I'm doing a little video on division, long division today. This is a topic that people should have coming into the algebra classes, but just a quick reminder, when we talk about division, we have a dividend that we're dividing into and a divisor that we're dividing by. This problem could be written this way. A dividend is the 17, the divisor is 5 in both cases, and in the third case as well, 17 is a dividend, 5 is a divisor. This way, we write fractions. This is a fraction, but it's also a division problem, and that's what we see a lot of times in algebra. We use it that way. 5 does not go into 1, so nothing goes above the 1. 5 goes into 17 three times. 3 times 5 is 15. Remember this process? You may need to go watch another video somewhere else if this quick one doesn't do it for you. And then that's my remainder. So I have 3, and that's my quotient. Remainder 2. 3 remainder 2 is the answer to that division problem. So you're going to have to be able to do more complicated division problems. Just use your calculator, but if you want a remainder, your calculator doesn't give you a remainder, it gives you a decimal. So on at least one of your homework problems, you're going to have to be able to do that. So let's say I have 5,273 divided by 17. That's kind of icky because we don't know our rules of 17 very well. Here's something that you can do to help yourself out. You could say 1 times 17 is 17. 2 times 17 is 34. 3 times 17, if you don't know them, do it on your calculator, right? So that's 51. 4 times 17 is 68. 5 times 17 is, what is that, 85. 6 times 17 is 102. And you can write those out, and then you can come back and go use that to help you do the division problem. So here 17 doesn't go into 5, but how many times does 17 go into 52? Well, it goes into 51 3 times, so that was what I would choose then. 3 times 17 is 51. By writing those out ahead of time, I don't have to do that every time to see if it works. Now maybe I'll need more and I'll have to go further. Alright, so anyway, now I'm going to say 2 minus 1 is 1, and 7 minus nothing is 7. How many times does 17 go into 17? Well, 1 time. 1 times 17 is 17. Perfect. And now I'm going to get 0, and I'm going to bring down my next number. And there's my remainder, but hang on, I brought down a number. If I bring down a number, I have to put a number on top, and that's a common error for people to make. So if I bring down a number, then I say, how many times does 17 go into 3? 0 times. I can't just leave that as 31. And then I have a remainder of 3. How could you check that? Well, I would use a calculator, but if you didn't have a calculator or weren't allowed to use a calculator, you can check to see if you made that correct multiplication there by taking 310 times 17. That's your quotient times your divisor. And then 0, 1, 3, and that gives us 0, 7, 2, 5. And then add on your remainder. Worked out, right? So that's how you do long division. But remember, common mistake is to not bring down the number when you need to. So let's do a different problem. Let's say you had 4,000, no, hang on, let me get something not working here. Let's say I had 48,000. This is the last one. We're just going to do 2. 48,308, 48,308 divided by 12. Okay, you could count by 12s over here if you wanted to. Maybe 12s are a little more in your mind and you don't need to do that, up to you. How many times is 12 going to 48? Well, 4 times. 4 times 12 is 48. Now I bring down a 3. I brought something down. That means I have to put something up. 12 goes into 3 0 times. There's that 0 now in the middle of my answer. Now I'm going to bring down another number. 12 goes into 38. twice, that's 24. Then I bring down the 8. When I subtract, that doesn't count as bringing a number down. When I bring a number down, that is. How many times is 12 going to 60? Well, that's 5. 5 times 12 is 60. And then I have 8. I didn't bring the 8 down. That was just my remainder. So that's a remainder 8. So remember about that 0. That's the thing that I would warn you about the most. And then I could check that by saying that times 12, which is 48,300, plus my remainder is 48,308. So that's how I would check that one. All right, little help with the long division. Oh, one more thing I didn't say, very vital about division. We cannot divide by 0. Dividing by 0 makes it undefined. Try it on your calculator, 5 divided by 0. You'll get some kind of an error message. That means we can't do this and we can't do this. Those are all the same things, right? Because there are different ways to say the same thing. We can never have 0 as a divisor. That's undefined. One way to remember it is under is underfined. Underfined. It sounds better when you say it than when you write it, right? Under is underfined. Now, undefined, but come on, that's about pretty close, right? You can't have 0 in the denominator. On the other hand, if I divide by another number, but 0 is the dividend, that's fine. That equals 0. So if I have 0 as the dividend, I get 0. But if I have 0 as a divisor, I get undefined. So it's important that word is not, that's the word you want to use. We want to use proper vocabulary. So it's not okay to say can't do it or whatever. Just say undefined. Have a great day.